Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of my video series where we're covering several different topics and techniques around the cyber kill chain. Well, today we're going to follow on from some of the previous episodes where we gained a foothold within the environment, and we're going to be doing some additional discovery and planning to further action our objectives within the environment. So without further ado, let's have a deeper look into what we're going to be exploring today. Okay, so previously we've been looking at the cyber kill chain from a high level, but today I want to go a little bit deeper and discuss something called the MITRE attack framework, where we're really zooming in on some of the tactics and techniques that could be used by attackers. Now let's take a little recap on some of the techniques that we've used to get us where we are from the previous episodes. So first, from the reconnaissance phase, we essentially searched some of the open websites to find some users to attack. Then we developed some malware, so we staged some capabilities with a payload that we performed initial access through a phishing attack. Once that was on the user's machine, we effectively tricked the user into executing that software, that malware payload. We didn't really do any persistence. We're not covered this off, but as part of that payload installation, we basically got a privileged escalation by making sure the user used administrative controls essentially, and then finally we performed some defense evasion by impairing the defenses, or in other words, disabling the antivirus. So that's really where we've got to today. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at these next two stages, which is credential access and discovery, before we're moving on to these later stages in the kill chain in future episodes. So let's explore more at a high level, what this is that we're looking at. If we think about this, we've got an attacker sitting on the outside world, and if we draw the concepts of an organization, maybe we've got a couple of different servers or a couple of different machines within this organization, and one of those machines is going to contain sensitive information. As so, the attacker's goal really wants to get in there and steal that information. So in 3 easy phases, the attacker needs to get in. Number 1, they need to move to where this information is stored. Number 2, and they need to steal that information. We need to remove that from the organization. So it's really kind of here where we're already got, based on a previous episode, we've gained that initial access, we've disabled the defenses, but where to from here? Well, what we can do is start to scan around the network, around the environment, and find a potentially open port or an open access on which to exploit. So that's really number 1. We'll call it discovery. And then number 2 is really credential access. So we got in by tricking a user by getting them to install something. But typically if we're inside an environment, we're going to have passwords in front of servers. So there's several different ways to find this. And in the demo today, we're going to explore a couple of those options. So let's dive in and have a look at a bit of a demo. Okay, so we're back on the machine that we gained a foothold on from the last episode, and we've removed the antivirus, we've impaired the defenses, so that means we've got full reign to do whatever we want on this machine. So first off, let's try and do some discovery and find out what there is to attack. Well, there's many different ways that you could do this. Maybe I'm going to download something like mmap, do a bit of a network scan or a ping sweep scan. Maybe I might want to download a bunch of different PowerShell scripts to ascertain different info. But right now, I'm just using a tool called AD Recon, which is going to do all the hard work for me and collate all the info about my Active Directory environment inside a nice Excel spreadsheet for me to read. So it's just a map within a matter of seconds. Let's have a look at what it's found. So we're just going to open the report. You can see there's a plethora of information that we've got within here. Things like users on the machines or users on the domain. Also different groups, different computers like domain controllers in domain connected machines, as well as things like DNS records and all the other stuff that might be useful if we were going to launch that particular attack. Another way in which we might find some information is just from browsers, right? People save bookmarks, people save passwords, things like that. So literally just having a look around, we might find some interesting things to connect to. But of course, quite often it's going to be protected with credentials, and we're going to need that as well in order to, get onto the other systems and, really start actioning our objectives. So what I'm going to do based on that, I've got another tool here called Lasagna, which is designed to dump a bunch of passwords. And I'm just going to run this to extract the browser passwords to begin with. Pretty quickly, again, within a few seconds, you've seen we've got some credentials for the same URL through the Firefox browser. So let's try those credentials on this link that we've got. There you go. We've got into the web server. There's a few different files that we can access. And now as an attacker, we might be able to steal that and extract that offsite. So look, that's all well and good. But again, we've got the trend endpoint sensor deployed on this, even though we've disabled the antivirus, we can still glean some great information. So you can see within the console, we've already picked up on some activities that have been happening. First of all, that Active Directory recon that we ran, if we have a look at that alert, again, we can see what happened here, the particular commands for users, or if we go back, we can also see, again, that password dumping that we ran. So just like to explore this a little bit, we can see we've got a particular user that was using a machine. We've got the various commands. We know that it was Lasagna that was run, so here's the specific command that we had. And again, we can even see that the Lasagna executable was downloaded by Firefox initially. So we can start to, pull back the trail of how this attack happened and how did it get in the first place. And if we wanted to action on this, on that particular machine, we can run particular actions like isolating the endpoint, running playbooks, things like that, or even going into an execution profile to investigate further. Or for the user, maybe we can disable that account, force them to sign out, things like that. And again, we'll get into the technicalities of that in some future episodes. So hopefully that was useful for you. As a summary, we've continued progressing through the cyber kill chain. Once we've gained a foothold on that initial machine, we're now starting to do additional discovery and find credentials that we can action on our objectives. So come and catch us next month, and we're going to be taking it one step further and performing some lateral movement within the environment and understanding how we can piece this together in investigation. So thanks for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.